In late 2022, videos began to be released about the newest Warhammer 40k game that was going to be released soon. That game was Warhammer 40k Darktide. It looked like a Left 4 Dead style horde shooter with the classic fat shark, satisfying melee combat, awesome gameplay, world building, soundtrack, story, and a crafting system. And then it released and about half of that was gone. Yikes. Warhammer Darktide has been out for a few months now, but it's only just starting to be a good game. Oh dear. Warhammer Darktide kinda got rushed as fuck, and the finished product was a little below low expectations. They kind of scrapped most of the content, and from the looks of it, some of the code as well. Probably just so that they could get the game out in time for Christmas. Seems like Christmas deadlines are the bane of any project's existence, huh? First, Sonic 06 got railed by a Christmas deadline, some floors just not having a collision barrier. The ET game had 5 weeks to be developed before it released in Christmas '82, and we all saw how that went, didn't we? Fat Shark basically saw how close their deadline was and went, oh shit, we got like 2 months to get this out. Okay, writing department, what do we get from Dan Abnett? Okay, Nurgle, Hive City, perfect. How's that crafting system coming along? It's not done, scrap it. All the world building doesn't matter, get the fucking game out. Also, make Aquila's a paid currency. We do want to make money. People need to learn that it's okay to delay your game, and the players need to learn to be fucking patient. This stuff takes time, man. There's so many things that go into game development that people just don't think of at all, and when they hear that a game is being delayed, they go, oh, but if they just released it now and made a patch to fix everything later, it would all be fine. No! That's exactly what Cyberpunk and Fallout 76 did, and Anthem, and I still don't think any of them have recovered from that. Rest in peace, Anthem. It all leads back to that very famous Shigeru Miyamoto quote that he probably never said, delay your game or I'll delay your paycheck. I want to talk about how this game messed up real bad, like as bad as a modern EA game, and where it went like really, really well, because this game has some really high highs, but they're all just dragged down by the horrifically low lows. In classic Greed fashion, Darktide went from being a grind to get currency for the Aquilas to a paid currency, and it is genuinely baffling to me why they thought this was a good idea, because the cosmetics clip through themselves, clip through you, and I have to pay $5 for a brand that clips through my fucking forehead and doesn't look good in the first place? What the fuck? The cosmetics are such a forced aspect into a game that already isn't that good, and the fact that you have to pay any amount of money for the actually good outfits is ridiculous and should not be happening. An amazing idea that I thought up in like 5 minutes is have Aquilas be paid, or you can grind if you want. It's a user-friendly way to incentivize players to keep playing. They can grind to get the drip, but if they really want to, they can pay for it. Maybe add some challenges that give players more or less Aquilas, or have some of Melk's challenges give you them. I don't know who thought it would be a good idea, but I think it's about time to put that quote from earlier to good use. Darktide runs like if you're trying to remake reality on a Game Boy, but the Game Boy is actually a Minecraft block, and the falsified reality is actually Windows 95 wallpaper. It crashes on startup, on loading screens, on character selection on the loading screen. After that, in the Morningstar, mission select, especially on the mission lobby and loading screen. Jesus, that's a lot of loading screens. Holy shit. My personal headcanon for why this game runs like molasses through a colander is because the developers were rushing for Christmas, right? And the lead dude bro in charge, that's what lead means, went, okay, bros, we gotta get this out soon. Let's just delete shit. And they ended up scrapping some of the optimization code in the actual game. I don't know how coding works, and replaced it with in-game transactions and scrapped mechanics. A lot of the time when I load into a game, it takes a minute or two just for the map to fucking load, and the same thing happens when I go into spectator mode. So, the story of Darktide. You are a reject, a nothing, a criminal of the Imperium, and you have been collected by an explicator to help cleanse a Nurgle-infested hive city called Tertium. And That's the whole story. That's all. That's it. They hired Dan Abnett to write the story, which is the guy behind a lot of the Horus Heresy stuff, but like, where the fuck did that go? Where's the story here? All that's happening is we're some criminal who should definitely be dead. We're clearing a hive city, and oh, that person's dead now. Were they important? Who knows? I don't think they even existed before this cutscene. It just goes cutscene, gameplay, cutscene, gameplay, over and over and over, and it never goes anywhere interesting or fun. Criminals in 40K are turned into fucking robot slaves. We should not be alive right now. There is no way we are not a goddamn lobotomite right now. How, Fat Shark? How? How and why? Fuck, man.
Yes. This is funny to me.
Now, 40K style is one that is really difficult to get right. There's a lot of skulls, purity seals, pipes, skulls, organs, skulls, candles, skulls. Jesus, there's so many fucking skulls. How well does Darktide go with this? Well, let's just say they took the organs very seriously. Darktide gets the Imperium look just right, with tons and tons of hydraulics, and the cable management is enough to make me want to hang myself from the dangling wires. And don't worry, they well exceeded their skull quota. Now, AI in Warhammer is illegal, so instead of AI for all their tech, what does the Imperium use? Well, Timmy, I'm glad you asked. Human brains! Yep. If you're a criminal in the 41st millennium, you don't just go to super jail, you go to hell in a fucking laboratory. Because guess what? You're about to get fucking lobotomized and turned into one of two things. Either a servo skull to follow people around, or a regular servitor, which is basically just a mindless slave. Sometimes the lobotomy doesn't go well. Okay, the music in Darktide really fucking slaps, and this is where we start to go from Weenie Hut Jr. to the any percent gamer shit with how good this stuff is. Because it's really hard for a game to have such a great soundtrack that I stop whatever I'm doing to listen to it. The only games that have gotten me to do this are Ultra Kill, Outer Wilds, and Darktide. And you know what? Fuck it. Cue the montage. Cue the fucking montage. Yeah, this shit slaps harder than your dad. Darktide's combat is just 10 out of 10. Mwah. Chef's kiss. Stellar. The melee combat is so clean and satisfying that it just makes you come with every swing of your power sword. And the gunplay is just as... fuck yeah! The bolters feel really fucking heavy and powerful, especially considering their rounds fucking explode after impact. Las guns are beautiful. The sound of their firing is just perfectly lore accurate, with las guns being described as a quick, I can't speak! A quick snap of the fingers. Though it really varies depending on what type it is. The heavy eviscerators are probably my favorite zealot weapon because they're so much fun to use. You hold down the mouse button for over a millisecond and you will cut right through that poor poxwalker's torso. It's just so... Yeah, sure, the Thunder Hammer is the meta right now, but god damn it, people, you gotta stop meta chasing. This is Warhammer, not Valorant. Play whatever you find fun, and if that's the current meta, then sure, yeah, whatever. I really don't know what other categories to add, so I'll just put this here as the outro and random shit. Character creation is, well, bare bones, I will admit. It is fun. You really get to create your character, choosing their defining moments, birthplace, and one of 4 crimes that they committed. I named my zealot for the Emperor. Yes, I do want to kill myself. Sound design is, it's amazing. You can hear the chirping of a grenade as it flies by your head so clearly. Sometimes you can catch the flame of a Tox Flamer's flamer, Jesus, getting lit, and it's just amazing. The voice acting is flawless. It's Warhammer, so you have to have all these heavy accents, rough voices, and it's a ton of yelling. So much yelling, Jesus. It's all done from the from the chest, and this deepness to everything. And I can just imagine how awful their throats must feel afterwards. Like, holy shit. Recently, hunting ground missions got reworked, and the hounds themselves got a bit of a nerf. So at some point, you'll just get hounded by like 50 dogs, and it really gets a bit annoying because you'll get pounced, get up, and immediately get pounced again. This is less of a problem for my zealot because flamer go burr, but I can imagine how for others it does suck. And mod support just got released, so a lot of the bugs are being outsourced to the community to fix. I personally think it's just a tad bit lazy, but it is a huge step in the right direction. And speaking of releases and reworks, the game just got a huge update while I was writing the script, so a lot of the information here is probably gonna be fucking obsolete by the time I'm finished writing this. There's a new type of armory that I'm really glad is in the game. It works really well. I'm pretty sure that consecrating your weapons is different as well. I don't know. I never really used it that much before now. And last thing before I end the video, I just want to say, don't shit on the developers. Don't bully them. They got rushed and probably had to crunch to make a deadline just for it to fail on release. I'm glad that Darktide is becoming the Darktide they wanted, and it's getting the popularity back that it lost when it crashed and burned. Unfortunately, I still wouldn't call it playable, really. I cannot recommend it in its current state. There is still huge performance issues, random crashes, AI problems, and the collision just decides not to sometimes. It's a great game, but it's so sad that it got released like this. Wow, that's a really sad note to end on. I mean, it's Warhammer. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I tried something new, quote unquote, and I think I'm gonna keep doing these kinds of video because this format just lets me get my thoughts out there. And like, it's so much fun to write these scripts. I've already got 4 other scripts like lined up and finished. I just need to record the audio, edit the footage and other stuff. So keep an eye out for those. They're gonna be released like 2 years later. Who knows? I might end up making another Darktide video when the game is, well, playable. I hope you enjoyed my sane ramblings. I hope they managed to get a slight chuckle from you. And don't forget to like the video. It makes the algorithm happy. And love yourself, no matter how crunched you are. Goodbye. I really don't know how to end things.